Let me thank Nicholas for his remarks. Let me thank Vanessa Manzi Kumar for a wonderful introductory statement. Let me thank all of you crazy people for coming out on a day like today. My God. You are a dedicated and fierce group of people. We're from Vermont, and we don't know about weather like this. But we should have probably had the rally inside. In any case, thank you all very much for coming out. All right, now, if I tell you something, you promise me you're not going to tell anybody else. Because, you know, Hillary Clinton is getting very, very nervous lately. She and Bill were in New Jersey, and they had some events there, and they had to cancel events and get on a plane and go all the way across the country. And the reason they came early to California is they know something that you know and I know, that if there's a large voter turnout on Tuesday, we're going to win California. And the reason that we are going to win California is the same reason that we've won 20 state primaries and caucuses so far. And that reason is that the American people are very, very tired of establishment politics and establishment economics. They are tired of Hillary Clinton's super PACs. And they're tired of Wall Street putting millions of dollars into those super PACs. They want real change in this country. And the American people want, and what this campaign is about, is a government which represents all of us, and not just the 1%. Now, in the last 25 years, what we have seen in America is a shrinking middle class. And almost all of the new wealth and almost all of the new income is going to the top 1%. Well, that is one way of defining that issue. I would use a different term, and that is to suggest that what we are going to do is create an economy for all of us, and not just the people on top. But it is not just a rigged economy, where in my state of Vermont and here in California, people are working 2 or 3 jobs, where moms are working 40 hours, dads are working 40 hours, the kids are working. But you know what happens after all of that? Almost all of the new income and wealth, 58% of the new income and wealth generated today, new income, is going to the top 1%. Anybody think that's fair? That's what we are going to change. But it is not just a rigged economy. It is also a corrupt campaign finance system. It is not America when you have billionaires being able to buy elections. Democracy is one person, one vote, not wealthy people putting hundreds of millions of dollars to elect candidates who represent the wealthy and the powerful. We are going to overturn Citizens United and create a vigorous democracy that has a country in which we have one of the highest voter turnout rates in the world, not one of the lowest. But it is not just a rigged economy where the rich get richer and everybody else gets poorer. It is not just a corrupt campaign finance system in which billionaires buy elections. It is also a broken criminal justice system. And today, we pledge to end the absurdity of the United States having more people in jail than any other country on earth. There are communities all over America, in inner cities and in rural areas, where unemployment rate for young people is 30, 40, 50%. These kids can't go out and get a job. And when kids have no jobs and they're not in school, bad things happen. And that is why we are going to invest in our young people in jobs and in education, not jails or incarceration. We want kids working at meaningful jobs, earning a decent income, not rotting in jail cells. And we're going to reform local police departments across this country. If a police officer, like any other public official, breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. And we're going to rethink the so-called war on drugs. Too many people have been arrested for possession of marijuana. And right now, under the Federal Controlled Substance Act, marijuana is listed as a Schedule I drug next to heroin. We are going to take marijuana out of the Federal Controlled Substance Act. But what we are going to do is to make sure that we address effectively the epidemic we're seeing with opiate addiction and heroin addiction. Every day, people are dying from overdoses of opiates and heroin. Now, we understand that we got to be smart in dealing with that addiction, and that means a revolution in mental health treatment in this country. People should be able to get the treatment they need when they need it, not 6 months from now. Now, this campaign is going to win because we are talking to ordinary Americans and not just billionaire campaign participants. One of the many areas that Hillary Clinton and I approach differently is that we raise our campaign funds from 8 million individual campaign contributions, averaging $27 a piece. She raises a lot of her money from super PACs with Wall Street and other special interests contributing leaders. Our job as a nation is to take on Wall Street, not take their money. This campaign, brothers and sisters, is listening to workers. And what workers are telling us is they can't make it on $9, $10 an hour. We need to raise the federal minimum wage to... It's a brilliant audience. Very smart group of people, you're right. Now, Hillary Clinton thinks $12 an hour is enough. I don't. We need a living wage in this country, and that is $15 an hour. And by the way, when we talk about equitable wages, every man here I know will stand with the women to fight for pay equity for women working. This campaign is listening to young people. And you know what young people are telling me? They're telling me that it is totally nuts that when they do the right thing, when they go out and get a great education, what happens? They end up $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 in debt. Is that nuts or what? All right. We should be encouraging people in a highly competitive global economy, all people, not just young people, go out and get the best education that you can, which will enable us to have the strongest economy in the world. We should be rewarding people for getting a higher education, not punishing them. When we talk about free public education now, it's not good enough to talk about first grade through 12th grade. We have got to make public colleges and universities tuition free. Anybody here have student debt? All right. We've got to address that issue as well, and we do that by enabling people with student loans to refinance those loans at the lowest interest rates they can find. And you know how we're going to pay for that? We're going to pay for it through a tax on Wall Street speculation. In 2009, you helped bail out Wall Street. It is Wall Street's time to help the middle class of this country. This campaign is listening to the Latino community. Love you too. And what the Latino community is telling this country is that there are today 11 million people who are undocumented. And here's something that everybody should know, that many of those undocumented people are being exploited on the job every single day. That your employer can cheat you, can provide inadequate wages for you, bad working conditions, but you do not have a right to stand up and fight back because you have no legal protection. And that's what we're seeing in California with farm workers. We're seeing it all over this country. And that is why we need comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship. And what we also need to do is to end current deportation policies. Our immigration policy should be to bring families together, not divide them. And if the Congress does not do its job, I will use the executive powers of the presidency to do everything that I can to address this problem. This campaign is listening to the African American community. And they are asking me why we can spend trillions on a war in Iraq. That was loud. And by the way, difference of opinion between Secretary Clinton and myself. We both got the same information. Back in 2008, I was in the House, she was in the Senate. I led the opposition to that disastrous war. She voted for it. Well, what the African American community is asking me, and they're absolutely right, how can we spend trillions on a war in Iraq, but apparently, supposedly, we don't have the funds to rebuild crumbling inner cities all over this country? If I'm elected president, we ain't going to get involved in wars abroad that we never should have gotten involved in. We are not going to get involved in perpetual warfare in the Middle East. We're not going to be rebuilding communities in Iraq and Afghanistan. We're going to be rebuilding communities in the United States of America. This campaign is listening to the Native American community. Native American people have given so much to this country that we really, it is a debt that we really will always have a hard time repaying. What is the most important lesson that the Native American people have taught us? You know what it is? It is that as human beings, we are part of nature, and we must live with nature. And if we continue to destroy nature, You know what we are doing? We are destroying ourselves. And that is why, at a time when within the Native American community there is so much poverty, so much unemployment, inadequate education for the children, inadequate health care. If elected president, we will fundamentally change our relationship to the Native American people. Now, I understand that the brilliant meteorologist and the brilliant scientist Donald Trump is in California. And I understand that this incredible genius, after intensive study, has concluded that there is no drought in California. Now that's kind of funny, because everybody in California believes there is a drought. But not for Donald. And then on top of that, after years and years of intensive study on climate change, when he was not going bankrupt, he spent his time studying climate change. He concluded, in opposition to virtually the entire scientific community, that climate change is a hoax. Now, what can I tell you? Other than to say that, as in many other areas, Donald Trump does not have a clue about what he's talking about. Now, unlike Donald Trump, I have actually talked to scientists all over this country and all over the world. And what they tell us is that climate change is real. It is caused by human activity. As you well know, in California, it is already causing significant damage in our country and around the world. And what the scientists also tell us, that we must, in a very short period of time, aggressively transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. Now, Donald Trump may not like it. The fossil fuel industry may not like it. But that is exactly what we have to do. And we have to do it because we, as human beings, are custodians of this planet. And we have a moral responsibility to leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable to our children and our grandchildren. Now, where Secretary Clinton is no Donald Trump, but she understands that climate change is real. But where we have a difference of opinion, I think we got to be really, really aggressive on this issue. And that is why in legislation that I've introduced, the most comprehensive climate change legislation ever introduced in the Senate, we have a tax on carbon. And I would urge Secretary Clinton to change her view and support me in demanding a tax on carbon. Now, there's another area which has to do with this warm bottle of water. It's going to start boiling in a minute here. Thank you. All right, you jumped the gun. All right, here's what we got. What we have, and this is a growing problem that most Americans, I think, are not fully familiar with, and that is here in California, you have many, many thousands of homes where people turn on the water, and guess what? They cannot drink the water that comes out of the tap. And it is not just California. It is communities all over this country who are facing very, very serious problems in terms of clean drinking water. Flint, Michigan, obviously, is maybe the worst example of what's going on. Now, in my view, given that reality, it is time now to call for a national ban on fracking. Now, Secretary Clinton does not agree with that. She wants to regulate fracking. But the truth is, you really cannot regulate fracking. The technology is just so dangerous that regulation is not going to address the crisis. And on top of that, when she was Secretary of State, Secretary Clinton pushed the fracking technology on countries all over the world. Brothers and sisters, I think all of you know that when we look at the needs of the American people, one of the most important needs that has to be dealt with is health care. Does everybody here understand that every other major country on earth, all of Europe, I live 50 miles away from the Canadian border in Canada, health care is guaranteed to all people as a right. And that's what I believe. I believe that health care is a right of all people, not a privilege. I believe that we have made some progress under the Affordable Care Act, but we have much, much more to do. How many people here have no health insurance? Raise your hand. All right. How many people are underinsured with high deductibles and copayments? All right. Those hands reflect a failed healthcare system. Now, you don't see this on TV too often, but in the last year, some 40,000 Americans died because they did not get to a doctor when they should. In other words, they didn't have insurance, they had a high deductible, and they didn't want to go to the doctor. They put it off, they put it off, they put it off. By the time they walk into the doctor's office or the nurse's office, their situation is beyond treatment. That is unacceptable. And that is why I believe that we must pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. All of you know that change, real change in this country, never occurs from the top on down. It is always the bottom on up. And that is what this campaign is about. It is about millions of people from coast to coast taking a hard look at what's going on in America and understanding that the status quo is not working for them. They are asking why it is that the middle class for 30 years has been in decline and why today almost all new income and wealth goes to the top 1%. They are asking why it is that young people are graduating college $50,000, $70,000 in debt, and why women are making 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. They are asking why we are the only major country not to guarantee paid family and medical leave. They are asking why we have more people in jail than any other country, disproportionately African American, Latino, and Native American. They are asking why our infrastructure, our roads and our bridges and our water systems are collapsing when we need to put millions of people back to work rebuilding our infrastructure. And I think the conclusion that people are reaching after looking at these issues is the understanding that establishment politics and establishment economics is not going to address those crises. That what we need is a political revolution, and you are the revolutionaries. Now, Donald Trump, in his bigotry, wants to divide us up as a people. Nothing new about it. We can't even give Trump credit for a new idea. Because this has gone on all over the world for hundreds of years. What you do when you don't have any real answers to the real problems, you scapegoat people. Right? You scapegoat gay people. You scapegoat Mexicans and Latinos. You scapegoat African Americans. That's what you do. But our job is to tell Mr. Trump that his bigotry is not going to succeed. We're too smart for that. We've been through it for too many painful years. And we're not going to let Trump divide us up. We're going to stand together. And when millions of people do stand together and understand that what we have got to do is create a government that works for all of us, not just the top 1%. When that happens, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. Now, on Tuesday, just 4 or 5 days from today, there is going to be a very, very important Democratic primary here in California. And I will tell you, you don't have to go turn on the TV on election night, because I will tell you exactly what will happen. What will happen is, if you hear that there is a large voter turnout, we will win. If you hear that there is a very large voter turnout, we'll win by a lot. If you hear that there is a low voter turnout, we'll lose. Just the facts. That's the way it is. So I hope very much that all of you will do everything you can in terms of talking to your family and your friends and your co-workers. Let us have the largest voter turnout in Democratic California primary history. This great state, this progressive state, tell the world you're ready to go forward with a political revolution. Thank you all.